Hi good people! In today's tutorial we're going to learn how to paint blaster effects. Here are two references that we are going to use as a guide. One from the movies and another one from the box concept art. Our goal is to achieve a translucent zone around the muzzle flash and a brighter and solid zone in the center. Exactly the same we can see in this movie frame. As you can see in this example, we are going to create a gradient of color in the center of the muzzle flash, focusing the saturation and brightening colors in the tip of the main ray of the blaster effects. Here are the examples that we are going to paint. Red and blue blasters. We have different types of translucent resins, some of them with colors, but in this case we are going to paint the translucent effects and tint it in the color we want. We are going to use a wet palette for an easier follow-up of the colors and mixing ratio of the paints. First of all, we're going to tint the effects with contrast Blood Angels Red, 50-50 with its own thinner. We are looking for a translucent appearance. Once it is dry, we're going to start working with the center of the effects. We will add a mid-tone to the palette, and later a brighter tone. Our mid-tone is Model Air, Fluorescent Red, and our brighter tone is Ice Yellow. We want to cover the 90% of the center of the main ray. We will add a bright zone at the end of the main sphere of the muzzle. First we paint one side, and then we will turn it 180 degrees to the other side, leaving the lateral sides unpainted. We are going to imitate the concept art and the movies, creating a 2D paint. We are now moving the brush from the closer zone of the weapon to the tip of the effects. In that way, we will drag the pigments to the zones that we want to be brighter. If you want to correct some errors, you can use the original mix that we used to tint the effects. We will add several layers in the center of our effects, dragging the pigment to the tip. As we continue to add layers, we will paint less and less zones. We will slowly see the gradient. In this step, we are going to mix our mid-tone with the brighter ice yellow. Now we have to be more careful. We start mixing with a ratio of 3:1 and focusing in the center of the mid-tone gradient. We are slowly focusing more in the center and painting more brighter zones of the tip of the effects, adding more and more ice yellow to the mix. If you want to improve the gradient, you can add some glazes of the fluo paint to the effects. You will get more saturation and a better gradient. To finish this step, add a small dot of ice yellow in the tip and center of the gradient. Don't forget to add a brighter zone in the base of the muzzle flash. As a final touch, we're going to add gloss varnish to all the effects. This will help us to gain translucency. You can check our YouTube tutorial about improved translucency in 3D printed translucent resin. If you want less opacity and saturated red, you can use Vallejo pure red in the zones that haven't been painted. Once dry, our effect is complete. This is our second example, a more complex red blaster effects. It's gonna be quite similar, but here are a few tips to you to consider. This effect has a way bigger initial explosive part. We have more space to paint the glow in the interior of it. We will use our fluorescent color to paint the inner part of it. You will need several layers to have a good covering and saturation. Always wait until it's completely dry to add a new layer. While it's drying, we can add the first layers to the main blaster rays. We have to be careful to focus on the center part of each side of it, and don't paint the connection part. We want to separate really well every ray of the effects. If you have any problem, you can use the original mix that we used to tint the effects. Like the last effects, we will focus on the center and create a brighter gradient in the center. This is a bigger effect, so we have to be clearer and more precise in every layer and step. We can add extra details, like brighter dots in the center of the beginning area of the effects. We can add some filters to add saturation and help us to clean our gradients. To finish it, we will add a layer of gloss varnish. As always, use a dryer to help. And here we have it. Our effect is complete. Now it's time for the next one, the blue blaster. The technique is similar. We're going to tint it with contrast Akhelian green, my favorite color to tint blue effects. 50-50 with its own thinner. Here in the wet palette are the colors that we are going to use: blue-green, Verdin, and white. Once dry, we're going to do the same as the other ones, adding color to the recesses of the initial part of the effects, also painting the center zone and the other side of it. We added a bit of Verdin to the blue-green as we gradually reduce the zone to the tip and the center of the last layer. When we have a good gradient and reach the end 20% part of the effects, we paint the tip with pure Verdin and add some white to finish the gradient. To finish it, we will add a small dot of white to the tip. We can add a few brighter points in the explosion part of the muzzle to get more contrast. Remember to paint the base part of the blast effect. Like in the other ones, we will finish it with a layer of gloss varnish. And our blue blaster effect is complete. This tutorial is more advanced than the last ones, but the final look of the blasters is spectacular, and if you follow the steps, it's super easy to paint it. Thanks a lot for watching. remember to subscribe and ring the bell. See you all in the next video.